Hello YouTube, this is Al coming to you once again for Kindred Souls of Brooklyn, and I'd like to thank you for tuning into the channel. If you like the channel, please share it with a friend, please subscribe. I'd really appreciate that, and you can leave me a comment on the video, or you can reach me at connection@kindredsoulsofbrooklyn.com. Now folks, tonight I want to talk about one of the most famous television shows in history, and it's called The Honeymooners, and I'm sure you've heard of it, and I'm sure you've watched it. And it's a show that was on CBS for only one season, from 1955 to 1956. But for that one season, there were so many amazing things that came out of that show. And to this day, every New Year's Eve or different times during the year, there are all kinds of marathons for the show because people absolutely love the show. Because Jackie Gleason starred in the show, along with Art Carney and Audrey Meadows and Joyce Randolph. And it depicts a Brooklyn bus driver who's a bit of a loudmouth. He's acerbic. He thinks he knows it all. But everyone loves him because he's got a really great best friend. He really, really loves his wife. And he's just this regular, everyday guy that everyone kind of falls in love with. And what was so amazing and endearing about the show, now you talk about only 39 episodes, but so many amazing things came out of the show. If anybody goes to the Port Authority on 42nd Street in Manhattan, there's actually a statue of Jackie Gleason as Ralph Kramden standing there with his lunchbox. As people walk by, you can see this 8-foot-tall statue. And even more amazing than the statue was on June 30th, 1988, right? The bus depot on 39th Street and 5th Avenue, which is right next to Greenwood Cemetery, which is only like 5 minutes from where I live, was dedicated and became the Jackie Gleason Bus Depot. So that was the funny thing about this video, is that a lot of times I drive home for work and I think about, what could I do a video on? As you know, all my videos are based on Brooklyn in one way, shape, or form. And a lot of times on the end of my videos, I say, this is Al signing off from the garden spot of the world, Brooklyn. And where am I getting that saying from? From Jackie Gleason and the Honeymooners. And if you think about it, so many popular phrases from that 1 year of a show made it into popular culture. You think about bang and zoom and to the moon, Alice, and just to the moon in general. There were so many things that came out of that show. And even the cartoon The Flintstones was based off of The Honeymooners. Now, it's really amazing that, they dedicated, Jackie Gleason passed away on June 24th, 1987. So he never saw the statue of himself, which is in the Port Authority, and he didn't see the dedication of the bus depot. But his widow was there when the depot was dedicated over in 1988 on June 24th, and actually June 30th, 1988. And it was amazing because that's a really big building. Folks, if you haven't been there, they do give tours of it. And the building is so tremendous. It actually houses, I believe it's 321 buses that it fits in there. And they do all kinds of work on the buses. And so if you go on this tour, you're going to see the buses coming and going. I think there's something like, they run about, it must be like 20 bus routes that come out of there. And the reason why they dedicated that bus depot as the Jackie Gleason Depot is because Jackie Gleason, Ralph Kramden, played a Brooklyn bus driver. And he lived in Bushwick, which is very close to where that depot is. In fact, the house that he lived in The Honeymooners, the apartment where he lived and Trixie and Ed lived upstairs, was a real address, is a real place today. If you happen to come over to New York and to Brooklyn, and you want to just do a little kind of tour of these things, you can. The address for Ralph Kramden's actual apartment, it's apartment 3A, and it's on 328 Chauncey Street in Brooklyn. And if you want to Google it, it's Brooklyn, New York, and it's 11233 is the zip code, and you'll see the actual building. And everything was, and that was what was so great about the show, was that Jackie Gleason paid a lot of attention to the detail. they filmed the show over at the Adelphi studio over in Manhattan. I think it was 154 54th Street over in Manhattan. And yeah, it was West 54th Street, and it was the Adelphi Theater. So things were really realistic in terms of the show, and people loved it. And if you look at the thumbnail on this video, that's the actual sticker that's on all the buses which come out of this depot on 5th Avenue and 39th Street. And the depot is right next to Greenwood Cemetery. And it was just so weird how I thought about doing this video, because I was driving home and I saw the sticker on the back of the bus. And of course, if you've watched my videos, you know I've done a couple of videos on Greenwood Cemetery, and how could I have missed this one? This really cool video based off of Ralph Kramden and his character, you know, Jackie Gleason portraying Ralph Kramden. It's just totally amazing. And of course, in the show, Ralph works for the Gotham Bus Company, which doesn't exist. I guess for whatever reason, they didn't make it the New York City Transit Authority, or, you know, the New York City Bus Division or whatever. But what was so cool about it too is that Jackie Gleason himself was born in Brooklyn, and he really held on to his roots in terms of coming from Brooklyn. In fact, his mother was a subway token clerk in the 1930s. So that's probably how he had that whole transit connection going on. So, folks, I just thought you'd really enjoy this video, because it's pretty amazing. And I think if you ever come to New York, you really should go on the tour if you can. I haven't done it yet myself, but the building is tremendous, and I hear they bring you around to show you the buses that are being worked on. They've also got some old classic buses in there. I don't know if they've got one from the Jackie Gleason era, you know, from the 55 and 56 era, but they probably do. And I think they take the buses out on little tours here and there. So you might be able to get on that if you can. So that's why I put the moon in the video on this one. You know, Alice to the moon, bang, zoom, the whole thing. And don't forget Ralph's also his major catchphrase to Alice, because, you know, he really, really loved Alice. And what did he always tell her at the end of the show? Baby, you're the greatest. And folks, for tuning into the video, I think you're the greatest. And if you have any ideas for videos, please pass them along. I hope everybody has a wonderful, safe, and healthy holiday season. It's November 25th. It's Magical Friday or Black Friday, whatever you like to call it. And actually, it's Saturday now. 24th was that. It's past, but you get the idea. Stay safe. Stay happy. You never know. Next time you're on a bus, think about Ralph Kramden. It'd be great to come on a bus in New York. The buses in New York are actually really cool. Each bus, I hear, costs $500,000. Can you imagine that? $500,000 for a bus. I wonder what Ralph Kramden would think of that today if he was actually driving that bus. He'd probably like it. But anyway, this is Al signing off from Brooklyn, the garden spot of the world. And folks, see you real soon. Have a good night. Stay magical. And enjoy the holiday season. Good night, folks. Have a wonderful night. Bye-bye now.